What's going on, YouTube? I'm out here in the woods today by one of my favorite little creeks, and I'm going to film a video for you of how to make your own boar butter. Now, I understand that some people are more traditionalists than others. Some prefer tallow, but I'm going to use a method that might be a little bit shocking. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to make a salve, and all that is using beeswax and olive oil to make a paste, really. There's been a lot of research online, apparently, and maybe some of it's true, maybe some of it's not, but it looks like they've actually taken boar butter and dissected it in a lab, and it's pretty much come back as beeswax and olive oil. And anybody who's ever made a salve, they know that that's what you do. Basically, when you make a salve, you heat up olive oil, you take your medicinal plant, you basically cook it in olive oil to release, all the good stuff, and then you add your beeswax as a thickener. And beeswax has its own antimicrobial properties as well. So I'm going to get set up, and we'll talk a little bit more about it and get this thing started. Come along for the ride. Alright, so here we've got a simple measuring cup. We've got our container. We're going to pour the boar butter in when we're done. We've got beeswax, and this is triple filtered, and it says it's cosmetic grade. I want as clean a product as possible. We have some extra virgin olive oil here, and it's very important to get extra virgin olive oil because olive oil does contain acids. And before you freak out about, oh, there's acids in oil, oh my gosh, you're putting that down your barrel, whatever the reaction with metal, all oils that I'm aware of have acids in them. Even the oil in your automobile has acids in the oil. So there's really not a lot to be concerned about. So to continue on, I've got some essential oil here, and this is wintergreen. We all know boar butter smells like wintergreen, and what a pleasant smell that is. So a little bit of that's going to go a long way, I think. And here we have this is pretty funny, it's a $8 dollar store pot with a little pop-up lid, a strainer. Really what this said it was used for is like for straining bacon grease, but I'm going to use it as a little camp kit. I think it'll hold up well. It is stainless. It's got a little pour spout. It's got a little pour spout right here, but my idea with it was squirrel hunting season. Quarter your squirrel, it'll fit in here perfectly, while you've got your potatoes, carrots, some celery, and chicken broth boiling in there. That's going to steam that squirrel, and it's going to fall right off the bone, and you can put that meat in there with it. Or even, bring some shrimp along, get some grits going on the bottom of that thing, cook your shrimp up top, steam them, and make you some breakfast shrimp and grits on the trail. I thought it was pretty neat for $8. We'll see how well it holds up. And of course, last but not least, we got a little propane burner with us. mostly because I wanted to keep this controlled and I didn't want any ash to get into my clean product here. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, before we begin, I made a nice level spot here for our canister so that we wouldn't have to worry about it tipping over. You know, we want to be safe. We want to avoid any unpleasantries. That's going to do it. So we're going to go ahead and start with the olive oil. We're going to take our measuring cup here, and I'm just going to pour a half cup. So we're just going to pour. A little bit more. That's about our half cup there. Alright, let's go ahead and get our pot on here. And we're going to want to do this really low heat. I mean really low heat, because we don't want to scorch the oil. We just want to heat it up. Alright, so our oil is in the little pot. Looking good. So we're just going to give that a little bit. And usually when you're heating up oil, you can see some disturbance on the surface when it's nice and hot. Like I said, you don't want to get it too hot because we don't want to create any smoke or fumes. We really don't want to scorch that oil. We're going to go ahead and add in our wintergreen. Like I said, this is from Green Health Essential Oils. And I think a little bit of this stuff's just going to go a long way. So we're not going to overdo it. Alright, that's one little speck I put in there. And we'll see, we'll smell. I think our nose will be the ultimate test here to how much we need. I'm going to go ahead and put one more in there actually. Well, that was more like 3 total. Yeah, that smells pretty good. We may need to add more as we go on. We'll see. We'll just let this heat up first. No, I'm not bushcrafting. I'm making a stir stick. I'm using a piece of beech that's actually dead because I didn't want any moisture in the wood when I went to stir the oil, because it could cause an eruption. Alright guys, we're getting a little steam. You can see the disturbance in there as the oil is moving around. You see that still had some moisture in that stick. See, I'm telling y'all, I know what I'm talking about from time to time. Definitely want to be careful. So we're stirring that, and so the oil's not burning, but I can smell, I can definitely smell that wintergreen pretty strong. But I think I'm gonna put another dab in there, because when I put the wax in there we go. When I put the wax in there, I think it'll temper it down some. All right, we got our beeswax. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna cut one of these in half. I may do a little bit less. I think I'm gonna do a quarter. And this beeswax smells pretty dang good too. All right, so we got our little quarter cube of beeswax. We're gonna plop it in there. We're gonna go ahead and turn the heat off as that melts. All right, so that beeswax is melting, and I can smell it melting. We're just gonna give it a little more time. A little bit of dirt on it. We're gonna scrape that off. Looks good to go. We're gonna add the rest of that stick. You know, it's just so peaceful and relaxing out here. And well, there's an airplane flying over, but it's like you can't ever get away from modern society, get any kind of peace and quiet, but the insects are still doing their thing and the birds are still singing. And there's a lot of butterflies flying through this creek bottom, and it's just really neat to watch. You know, this weekend is actually my birthday, and I say the weekend is my birthday because most women take a full month, and I'm not trying to be a complete diva, but it is my birthday weekend. Nice to have you guys along with me though. This oil needs a little bit longer to cool, and hopefully we can get a paste out of this. And we'll keep adding wax as needed to kind of get like a toothpaste consistency, or like boar butter. Definitely smell that wintergreen now. Smells awesome. So I'll say this much about this little dollar store pot. It retains its heat quite well. And it's still very hot on the bottom, so we're gonna walk over to this creek and just dip it in the water, cool it down a little quicker. It looks like a good spot for it. And it's starting to look a little hazy in there. That's what we want. And there's a few little impurities. I mean, we are outside, and you know, you're gonna have stuff falling from the trees. I use the stick to stir it, for God's sakes, but we're gonna see if this is the consistency we want. If we need to add a little more wax, we'll throw it right back on the burner, and we'll see. Wow, you can actually see it is fogging. It's fogging up as the liquid cools. I recently put a poll out to see how many of you actually, you know, enjoyed my trapping videos. I don't have too many of them, but trapping season is coming up, and the response was overwhelming. It's really cool to see your support, and like I said, I mean, trapping and black powder go hand in hand. I mean, it's kind of weird to do one and not the other, in my opinion, but I enjoy both immensely, and I appreciate y'all's support. There will be more trapping videos coming up for sure. Alright guys, I pulled it from the creek. I don't know if you can see that. I've dabbed my fingers in it a few times to test it out, and I mean, look at that. I'll probably add just a little bit more wax to it, but that's boar butter, and it smells good. I'll probably add a little bit more wax and a little bit more wintergreen. But we're going to heat this back up, add the wax, and add the wintergreen, and then we're going to pour it in our storage device. Nice low flame. Just to give you guys an idea of how much wax I use. That's what's left. So about 3/4 of one of these little sticks here. We're going to drop that right in the pot. We're going to throw in a little bit more wintergreen. I really like that stuff. And that should balance out quite well. I mean, it just smells amazing. It really does. Alright guys, it's melted back down. We're going to take our storage device. Boy, does that handle's not too hot. That wintergreen smells so good. So we're just going to pour that right in there. I don't have a big enough storage container. There we go. And you know what? We'll carefully take this to the creek and we'll set it in the creek to dry. Very, very carefully here. I said set it in the creek to dry. I don't know if that's the right terminology. Set it in the creek to solidify. Alright, we'll check back on that in a few minutes. Alright guys, we have our homemade boar butter, and we have Wonder Loop here, which is the same thing. It's boar butter. We can look at the color comparison here. Now, quite frankly, I kind of prefer the natural look, as it looks more traditional instead of the bright yellow. But let's go ahead, we'll take a scoop of this out. And we're just going to kind of look at the consistency there. Feels good. It's getting a sheen to it. See the sheen in the middle? Because the heat from my body and my fingers is actually melting that stuff. Alright, now let's have a test of the homemade boar butter. It's almost a shame to dip my finger in it. It looks so pretty. Alright, we're going to get some of that out of there. I mean, I'll put a little bit back. Alright. The consistency is identical. You can see it's pretty dense, but not too much. And we're just going to rub our fingers together. And we're going to get that nice sheen in the middle from my body heat. Man, this is so cool. Let's do the old sniff test. Alright, so we got our homemade boar butter here. We're going to do the old sniff test. Man, I gotta tell you, that smells incredible. It smells just like the boar butter as far as the concentration of the wintergreen, but a lot of that really pure beeswax is coming through as well, and I like it. I think I like it more. It smells, I don't want to say earthier. It smells amazing. Look at that stuff. So let's go over a few of the costs here. I already had the jar. I did buy this, but you could use anything. I already had the measuring cup and the stove, but let's look at the actual ingredients here. The wintergreen only cost me $5 shipped, which is a great deal. This stuff is good, very good. It smells identical. The beeswax here, triple filtered, the cosmetic grade beeswax, very pure. That cost, I want to say $7. Pretty sure it's $7. And then the olive oil was, I think, $7.99. So $20 here, I can make a ton of boar butter. And if you just look at this, I mean, that's quite a bit. And this little jar here, that'll last me probably more than the whole season. But I will take this to the range, and you guys will see how it performs. All in all, I am just stupid pleased.